Food bloggers, hi, how are you today? Thank you so much for tuning in to the Eat Blog Talk podcast. This is the place for food bloggers to get information and inspiration to accelerate your blog's growth and ultimately help you to achieve your freedom, whether that's financial, personal, or professional. I'm Megan Porta. I have been a food blogger for 13 years, so I understand how isolating food blogging can be. I'm on a mission to motivate, inspire, and most importantly, let each and every food blogger, including you, know that you are heard and supported. You are going to want to download our bonus supercut that gives you all the information you need to grow your Instagram account. Go to eatblogtalk.com/Insta growth to download today. This episode is part 2 of our new blogger series and what is working for new food bloggers. In the episode, Ashley Freeman from the Little Black Skillet and Gwen Wolken from A Sweet Thyme joined me in an incredible conversation. It seems like each conversation carries a theme or a couple of themes, and the themes for this episode is definitely consistency and networking. And we talked a lot about getting traffic from both Google and Pinterest. And there are a few other little gems in there, other ways to get traffic that don't involve Google and Pinterest. All around, it was a robust, valuable conversation that I think you're going to find much value in, even if you're not a new food blogger. So it's not just new food bloggers who should dive into this episode. It is episode number 645. I hope you love it. Maybe you are eager to join one of the Eat Blog Talk mastermind groups, but not quite ready to make the full investment. The Eat Blog Talk accountability group could be the perfect solution for you. For just $34 a month, you will be part of a supportive community that offers weekly accountability check-ins, a private Slack channel, live productivity sessions, and monthly Zoom calls with fellow bloggers and me, Megan Porta. We are here to help you stay on track, stay motivated, and connected as you build your brand and work towards your big blogging goals. If you are ready to move forward without the pressure of a huge commitment, visit eatblogtalk.com/focus and claim your spot today. Ashley and Gwen, thank you ladies so much for joining me. I'm super excited to talk more about newer bloggers finding successes in unique ways. So yesterday I recorded part 1. This is part 2. And my hope for this series is to inspire newer bloggers to persevere in this crazy current world of blogging, because it can feel really daunting and heavy and frustrating, honestly, at times. But these success stories will hopefully encourage you and just keep you moving. So to start, I'm just going to have each of you do a really quick introduction to yourself and to your blog. So Gwen, why don't you go ahead?
Sure. My name is Gwen Wolken, and I have a blog called A Sweet Thyme, which focuses on a Mediterranean niche. And I tend to focus down a little bit into the gluten-free area because that's where we are in our own home. I started the blog in 2019, but basically put it aside during the pandemic and picked it back up about a year ago, and basically had to revamp and restart over. And it's been going really well since then. I've also spent like 10 years in the chocolate industry, and I've done some other things, but I really just wanted to share my love of food with my family and friends. And that's how it all started, because everybody kept asking for the recipes. So it was really fun.
And just to point out that sweet, so it's A Sweet Thyme, and thyme is THYME if you want to go check it out. It's not the TIME, but I like the play on words. Okay, well, thank you for filling us in on that. Ashley, do you want to tell us a little bit about you and your blog?
Yeah, so I'm Ashley Freeman, and my blog is called Little Black Skillet. My niche is more broad. I do focus on Southern recipes and recipes inspired by travel, just because that's kind of what I love. But the premise behind the name of my blog is that my cast iron skillet's kind of the workhorse of my kitchen. And just like a little black dress is kind of like your go-to reliable outfit for any occasion, that's kind of how my little black skillet is in my kitchen. So these recipes I'm trying to make them approachable. I want them to be like your trusted go-to recipes that you can count on again and again. So my background, I actually started in like the cookbook publishing world in a test kitchen, developing recipes. I was a food stylist. Then I moved over to the editorial side and was a cookbook editor and author for a bunch of years. And I don't know, like I've been a freelancer, golly, 11 years now. And did all those things that I did when I was, in the corporate world. But I was getting kind of tired of the grind and, other people being responsible for everything I did. And I was still using my creativity, but not for myself. And so at the beginning of 2023, I took a leap of faith and was like, I want to do something for myself. And that's when I started my blog. So I already had a cookbook. I've got great clients that are for food styling and recipe development, but this is kind of for me. So that's kind of how I started out.
Okay, I love backwards stories like that. They're just so cool for some reason. Do you feel like having things like a cookbook and clients already did a good job of setting you up for success with your blog because you had some knowledge first?
I think so. I mean, the blogging world is it's totally different than what I thought it would be. And it's really funny when I tell people that I have a food blog, they're like, oh, how great. Like, how do you make money and all this stuff? And it's
all those questions, right? Yeah. Yeah, I hear you.
It's just a cute little hobby that I have. But yeah, like I think I learned all the skills that you need to have a successful blog, the recipe development and the food photography, all that. It really did help.
Yeah, I can see where that would totally set you up for success because as a new blogger who doesn't have that background, you kind of just have to dive into the deep end and learn the hard way, which can make it feel so much harder. So your blog is about 2 years, not quite 2 years old.
Yeah, so September 2023 is when I launched it.
Oh, okay. So yeah.
I'm just over a year old.
Okay, just over a year. So tell us how you found success. Are you finding success with traffic or in other ways or all of the above?
Yes. So let's see. In 2023, I went to my first tastemaker conference, and that was before I had a blog. I was kind of putting my feelers out to see if this was something that I wanted to do. And I took like all the notes and met all the people and, kind of soaked up as much information as I could. And then after I launched, I guess it was a couple of months before the next tastemaker conference, which was in March. And at that point, when I went to the conference, I had 1,200 sessions a month, which, that's okay. But then I started taking all these little nuggets of information that I learned from the conference, from people I met, from podcasts. I mean, I was like living and breathing, and every second of every day was devoted to this blog. And I really started to see an uptick after the conference. And so by July, I applied and been approved for Journey by Mediavine. And then last month, I was accepted to regular Mediavine.
Nice. And congratulations.
Today, I'm at 65,000 sessions.
Awesome.
So
that's amazing.
Yeah.
Congratulations. That's a huge milestone in every blogger's journey when you get past that 50K mark, I feel like. So yeah. I hope you celebrated because you deserve that. So tell us how you got your traffic. What did you learn from the conference that helped the most?
Well, first, like my big thing that I try to tell people is like networking is so huge, especially as a blogger. Like, I mean, I work from home and my dog is my coworker. And so like, it's so nice to be around other people at the conference, but then also I have a few little groups that I'm involved with, like some masterminds, and it's just so great. Like other people that love the same thing that you do and like can cheer you on. Like, I think that's huge. So like we're exchanging information with each other of like what's working. And I think that's helped a bunch. The other thing that it really, I think, moved the needle for me was I love Rank IQ. And I've heard that from you and from other people too. It's like, I really think that helped me rank quickly for posts.
Yeah. So is most of your traffic coming from Google or?
Yes.
Okay, great. That's actually super impressive in this time. Rank IQ was a game changer for me. So my blog was really old and my traffic had just been kind of dying out over time.
Mm-hmm.
So when I started using Rank IQ, it turned everything around, and it has just gone up since, and I have not stopped using it. Do you use it as your primary keyword research tool, or do you use the optimizer, or both? How do you use it?
I use both. In some instances, I use key search as well, and then I'll plug it into Rank IQ after I find something that, because I mean, sometimes there's a recipe that I'll just randomly make for dinner, and my husband's like, "Ooh, you should put this in the blog." Well, it's kind of hard, you don't want to spin your wheels unnecessarily, put all this work and then no
Yeah.
one's going to see it. But for the most part, I get my ideas from the keyword database on Rank IQ.
Okay. And then you said that your niche is Southern food and some travel. What are some of your top pieces of content that rank well in Google?
So one that really took off was sweet potato cornbread, and it uses Jiffy corn mix. So I think my audience really responds to like those. I mean, because I'm a busy mom, and a lot of times I'm just like, what the heck am I going to make? And I think that really resonates with my audience. What can you make that's delicious and homemade-ish? So that one's done really well. And then a sloppy Joe recipe is doing great, which was kind of a surprise to me. I mean, that's like something I just like, I have a 9-year-old son, and, that's just a weeknight recipe, but everyone loved it. And then deviled eggs is another big one for me.
Is there a spin on your deviled eggs, or what makes them unique?
They're Christmas deviled eggs. So they're basically this deviled eggs, but with roasted red peppers and parsley.
Oh, I see it. I'm on that post. They're so cute and festive. Well, that's great. I always love hearing what people's top posts are for some reason, and what Google sees you as an expert in. That's interesting, right? So do you feel like that is a good reflection of you as a blogger, those top 3 posts?
Yeah, it's kind of funny. Like, I think my niche wasn't super niched when I started, and it's kind of, I'm kind of seeing what people are responding to the most, and that's helped me kind of hone in on certain things that I know will resonate with them. Because at the end of the day, I mean, I'm trying to pay attention to my audience. I mean, I want them to keep coming back.
Yeah. So when you say that you're paying attention to what people are wanting from you, is that are you just looking at your analytics, or are you doing that through email, or how are you doing that?
Yeah, it's mostly analytics, because that's I don't have a huge Instagram. I mean, I have some followers, but I don't get a lot of my traffic from Instagram. It's mainly Pinterest and Google Analytics, but also MSN is a big one.
Okay. Are you in the MSN network?
I'm not, but I share my recipes in roundups.
Gotcha. Okay.
Which is huge. That's another biggie. Okay.
I've heard other bloggers say that as well. And those are on Facebook. So you can search those, and I think anyone can be a part of that, right? You just submit your URL, your link.
Exactly. Yeah. You have to have a food blog, but
right. Yeah.
Why else would you be giving recipes?
Right. Absolutely no reason. No, that's a good little gem right there to go search those up and just contribute. So from what I'm hearing, you are finding your magic through low competition keywords that you're researching through Rank IQ, and you're just really tuning in to what people are devouring from you. And then based on that, do you create more of the same theme, or how are you determining what else you make?
So I have this big spreadsheet of all my different categories, and I'm trying to make it, I want to be a one-stop shop. So I'm trying to fill in any holes. And also, like, if there's a keyword phrase or a keyword, if it's something that I feel authentic about, like it's something that I would make, or something that I could offer a trick or a unique spin on, then that's the ones I pick, because I really feel like people can tell if you're being authentic or not. So,
oh my gosh, so true. And
so true.
It's so easy to dismiss that and be like, oh, nobody's going to know. I'm just going to make this because it has a really good, numbers and key search or whatever. But people know when you're being authentic. Right. They can feel that. Yeah. So I think there's value in not always looking at the numbers and doing what you're doing, Ashley, and just tuning into do I feel aligned with this? Is this something I can authentically share? Is it going to resonate well? No
Right.
matter what the numbers say.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, love it. And then you mentioned Pinterest is also a traffic driver.
It
Do you
is.
have a
I'm still
strategy?
figuring it out.
Okay. What are you doing on there right now?
So my big challenge is I try to do everything at once. And I'm a one-woman show, and that's just impossible. And so for a while, I was just doing 2 pins a day. And then my traffic tanked, and I was like, ugh, what is going on? So I was like, well, maybe I'll do 3 pins a day. Well, it worked for a little bit, but then it was just too much for me. So I just didn't do it. Well, that's not a good strategy. So now I'm back to 2, and I figure, at least it's starting to go back up again. I feel like they have changed their algorithm a couple times, and it's so hard to figure out what they want. But I'm still getting good traffic, so
Good.
I'm going to keep plugging along with the 2 a day.
Yeah, and being consistent, that's such
Exactly.
a huge...
I think that's the most important thing is to be consistent.
100%. No matter what you're doing, just be consistent with it.
Yeah.
Okay, anything else we should know about traffic or other projects that you found success with in the past year?
I mean, I'll just go back to the networking thing. So the blog is I love it. I wish I could do this exclusively, but I'm not to that point yet. So I have to, pay my bills and work on other things. So I'm a food stylist and recipe developer for a bunch of different brands. And the way that I made those connections was through networking. So going to conferences or, I don't know, being involved in things locally, or reaching out to someone you worked with in the past. I mean, I think it's so important. People will remember, something y'all worked on together or whatever, and they'll reach out to you. So
relationships are
huge.
So important. So important. I love that you have that as priority for yourself and your business. And just doing that alone is going to allow you to find success so much more quickly, I think. So kudos to you. Nice work. Okay, we'll come back to you, Ashley. Gwen, I want to get to you. So you told us just a quick synopsis of your blog. Now tell us how you have found success on your platforms.
Well, I started the blog actually in 2019 and had someone who had been working for me in a prior marketing business kind of do the website and do the hosting. And her thought process was it would never be monetized, so it didn't really matter what the theme was and what the host was. And at the beginning, I didn't really care. And then the pandemic hit, and I had one of my kids basically graduate college on my couch and go through lots of stuff. So I had to basically stop the blog. And I brought the blog back midsummer, fall of 2023. And I knew I needed to get a new host, a new theme. And I went through and I did all of that. And just like Ashley, I went to Tastemaker Conference in March of this past year and met some amazing women. And we've also formed a mastermind.
Oh, great.
We joke,
I love that.
we joke with ourselves because we're all slightly older bloggers and we're all newish to the blogging arena. And we love, sharing, with each other and cheering each other on. I mean, one of us just made Journey this past week and we're celebrating her. So it's a lot of fun. I also knew that what I was doing probably wasn't right after coming off a Tastemaker conference because like Ashley, my views, my sessions were very low. I think it was around the 1,000 mark as well. And I didn't really know kind of what to do. I was just trying to take in all the little nuggets and everything that I needed to do. But I did reach out to Casey Markey and get some help there. I started taking some courses. I started doing a lot of things. And I ended up making Journey in end of August. And and I'm getting close to Mediavine. It'll happen. So it's just exciting. It's just been growing. And I just have had to soak in lots of things, courses and get advice and basically spend some money in order to make money is kind of what's been happening.
Got to spend money to make money.
Got to spend money to make money. It's something I've learned throughout my life. So, but it does work. And it's nice at least to be getting some income coming off. My 2 biggest traffic drivers seem to be Pinterest and Google. I've leaned into Pinterest. I've leaned into Flipboard as well.
Oh, yeah, me too.
Yeah. And they've been doing really, really, really well. And, I'm getting backlinks, I'm doing all sorts of things, and it's just driving. It's just driving traffic. So it's been great. It's been
That's
great. And,
great.
with unlike, Ashley, well, you're doing 2 pins a day, I'm doing 5 a day.
I don't know how you do it.
So basically, I'm using Tailwind. It makes my life so much easier. And I just am going back, depending on the seasonality. Like right now, I'm like recreating pins for Valentine's Day.
Right.
And I'm just putting them out there. It's just on my to-do list. One of my first 3 things I do when I sit down at my desk every day. So yeah, I just make sure they're there, and Tailwind schedules them. And I just don't think about it anymore, but it's driving a ton of traffic. So Pinterest has gone crazy this year for me. It's been great.
Food bloggers, imagine a retreat where learning, growth, and community come together, designed just for you. Join us at the Eat Blog Talk Spring 2025 retreat happening March 6th through 9th in Minneapolis. This intimate gathering is limited to just 10 spots, so you will enjoy a truly personalized experience. During 3 unforgettable days, you will be immersed in mastermind-style sessions, discussions that will prompt new revenue and traffic streams, and so many connection opportunities. Get ready to dive deep into your business, gain new insights, and build friendships that will fuel your success long after the retreat has ended. Plus, you will indulge in meals prepared by private chef Ryan from Cookery Amendola, sharing truly unforgettable experiences around the table. Reserve your spot now to accelerate your food blog's growth, expand your network, and step into 2025 with a fresh new confidence. Apply today at eblogtalk.com/retreat. So would you say you get more Pinterest traffic than you get Google traffic?
I would say it's about equal
Okay.
right now. And it's interesting because my top posts are very different on Pinterest versus Google, which I find very interesting.
Yeah. Isn't that interesting how that shapes out? I know, I don't get it. So 5 pins a day, and are you doing all unique pins? So every pin is different, and that's for both of you. How do you create your pins?
Each pin is the 5 a day. They're all the same URL. And all I'm doing is creating new text, new photos, and new descriptions for, that URL per day.
Gotcha.
Oh, that's interesting.
And how about you, Ashley? How do you create your pins?
So I have 4 templates in Canva, but it's funny. So I'll do only one, like I won't share the same URL. Like I put a 2-week in
Gap.
between each one,
Yeah.
which that's interesting that you'd use the same.
But depending on how I'm scheduling them out, I do 3 to 4 days in between each pin.
Okay.
And if it's the same pin that's going to several boards, I do a 1-week interval between them.
Got it.
Okay. Yeah, I love hearing everybody's unique Pinterest strategy. And then do either of you notice certain types of pins that do better for your account? Like maybe you have the title or no title, or maybe it's just teaser text, anything like that?
All of my pins have titles on them. I don't have any that don't. I find that the cleaner looking pins do better. So, cleaner fonts. Usually, there's a color. I use my theme colors behind all my text. It just, as long as the pin is clean looking, where someone who's looking at it, I guess this is a marketing piece in me, someone can look at that pin and easily identify what it is and read it. Those are the ones that do the best.
Mine's more seasonal. So it's a crapshoot for me.
Yeah. Sometimes it's
That's
hard to
okay.
find themes, right? You're like, okay, what are the commonalities here? I don't see anything.
Maybe that should be a goal of mine for 2025.
Yeah.
Figure out
Fight.
Pinterest.
Right. Well, I don't think anyone ever has accomplished that. So have grace with yourself if it doesn't work. But yeah, it's just the consistent game, right? Like continue publishing and then finding those little things that do work. Like Gwen, you've noticed that clean is best for your account. So keep on with that and just keep experimenting. I think that's the key. Do either of you ever put video pins on Pinterest?
No.
That's a goal of mine for 2025 is to do more video.
Okay. That's
but
a good
it's like
that's a good goal.
super overwhelming to me.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I hear you. Yes. It's like one thing at a time, right?
Exactly.
Let's get this situated, get on an ad network. Okay. So Gwen, your Google traffic, how do you do your keyword research?
I started with Rank IQ and loved it, leaned into it. And then I found that I was over optimizing a lot of it, or I wasn't getting enough traffic from some of those keywords. So I started using more key search and keywords everywhere and kind of a combination and finding the keywords that I need. I also found that it was harder for me within my niche to find what I wanted from with Rank IQ. So I'm leaning coming up in the new year, I'm leaning more into topical authority and
Mm.
kind of just basically getting 5 different buckets of content within one basically keyword. So let's say a keyword is chicken, and I'll go in and I'll create, 10 pieces of content within my niche that I think will do well, basically list them out, and then I'll go back and do keyword research on it. Some of them will have, decent traffic and some may not, but it's all about building that topical authority within the blog, which I think will be helpful for Google as well.
Yeah.
Well, then you can interlink too.
Correct. And I do a ton of that now, which I was not doing prior. So I've learned how to do that and do it well. So that's been huge and it's been very helpful.
That is a great strategy. And your niche is Mediterranean and gluten-free, correct?
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
The interesting thing is I did survey my audience last summer and no one wanted the gluten-free. So
Oh,
I'm going to
interesting.
survey my audience again come January. And now that I've pretty much tripled my email list, I'm going to see what people
Yeah.
are really looking for, because it may be that I just say, forget the gluten-free piece, which will help with the dessert category. Since I have a background in chocolate, I'd like to do more with chocolate and
Oh,
that are not gluten-free. So I have to see
absolutely.
what people are looking for.
Yeah. It's so important to stay in touch with your audience and what their needs are, especially now. Back when I started, it didn't matter, but now it matters. So I love that you guys both are doing that. What are your top recipes currently from Google?
From Google, my top recipe is my almond macaroon recipe. It ranks number 1 for that keyword. It's a really easy, simple recipe. I think the second keyword is the Neiman Marcus bars, which are basically a spin on the gooey butter bar, which a lot of people have in Southern cooking. It has nothing to do with my niche. I think the third is probably this Turkish eggplant salad that I have.
Ooh,
So,
yeah.
yeah, it's interesting. It's kind of all over the board. From Pinterest, it is a breakfast. It's an egg casserole that I
Oh,
make that I get just a huge amount of traffic from. So,
isn't that funny? Yeah, I know. I
and it's
wish we
not
could
even niche
predict.
related, right? It's
Yeah, like this is going to be great on Pinterest. And when you think that, it literally never is. But then
correct, right?
things surprise you. But I think that's kind of fun. That's a fun part of blogging, is that you just never know what people are going to love on each platform.
Exactly.
And then, so going forward for you, Gwen, are you going to continue kind of that category type planning? So you mentioned chicken and then just rounding out your categories on your site.
Well, within each topic that I'm going to be building out, I try to build out within each category as well. So, under the topic of chicken, for example, I want to make sure I'm going to have an appetizer that may have chicken in it. I'll make sure I have a soup that has chicken in it, a casserole, a main course, whatever it might be within my categories. So, I'm going to try to spread that topic within all of my categories to help build it out. I spent last summer building out my salad category. And then I realized that there were certain ingredients that I used that were based on my niche of being in the Mediterranean niche, like feta, for example, and pistachios. And I can just build all of that out, which is what I'm trying to do within some of the other categories.
And that's really smart way to go about it. So from both of you, I'm hearing kind of similar things. You're focusing on traffic from Google and Pinterest, and you're being consistent. How often are you guys publishing new content on your sites?
Well, I've been only publishing once a week up till now. I'm going to try to go to 2 a week this coming year if I can by batching. I don't know. What are you doing, Ashley?
I do between 2 and 3 a week. And honestly, once I started batching, it really helped because I can be kind of scatterbrained. So if I have just one thing to focus on, then, it really has helped me be more efficient.
I find batching will be good. I'm a little worried about it, about getting the posts out. It's like one thing to take the pictures and to do the recipes and
Right.
be recipe testing and everything else, but then actually writing the post, I find the hardest thing to do for me personally.
Yeah.
Like with everything, it's a process and it's a learning, ongoing journey. So just, yeah, be patient with yourself. But batching is super powerful. It can You can produce so much in such little time if you can tap into it. Okay, you both mentioned Flipboard. So tell me how you are using Flipboard.
I'm still kind of new at it. I guess I started this summer and I don't get a ton of traffic. I don't know. It's kind of one of those things that I'm still getting, a feel for. But I try to do 2 flips a day. So that's same as my Pinterest. And then I'm a member of a lot of different boards. And so I'll pin to my own magazine. They're called magazines. And then I'll flip to 4 other magazines that I'm a member of.
Are you doing only new content or are you doing old content?
Nope, both.
Both.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm doing the same thing. But new content is what Flipboard wants to see. And
I know.
you don't always have that new content to be able to flip. So
Right.
always curious. Yeah.
So Flipboard is looking for posts that have been published recently as far as the date. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Interesting. Gwen, are you seeing traffic from Flipboard?
I am. It's my 3rd most traffic source.
What?
Wow. So it's being consistent. Everything is about consistency. So
Right.
Pinterest is consistency. I am flipping every day as well. So it's just part of what I'm doing on a daily basis.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's great. I know there was a big rush with Flipboard last maybe May or so. Everyone was trying to get on to the point where I think they were overloaded. Their system was like, whoa, back up. We can't handle all of these bloggers. But I'm glad to hear that you're actually seeing traction from it now. So I wonder if it would be a good option for newer bloggers to consider just getting on there and flipping,
It's not
consistently.
hurt.
Yeah,
It's not gonna
Exactly.
hurt.
You got to try. It's a lot of trial and error.
right.
I don't know about you, Ashley, but I'm not finding a lot of traction from Facebook or Instagram. So, it's a little more difficult there than it is some of these other places.
I feel like my Facebook traffic is from those roundup groups that I'm a part of. And that's, I don't know, it's not actual followers.
It's traffic though.
It's traffic. Yeah. So I'm going to keep doing it.
So tell me about that. Do you invest significant time there? How many groups are you a part of and what niches are they, I guess?
So I think I'm a part of 5 different roundup groups and I check it at least once a day in the morning. So I have like my little to-do list like Gwen does in the morning. I do my pins and my flips and then check the roundups. And then if I have time at night, then I'll check it again. Because, sometimes people will post a specific type of recipe they're looking for, and then they'll turn off comments within like 5 hours. So
interesting.
Yeah.
And then
same thing, yeah.
The groups that work the best for you, very niche specific?
Nope.
Just general recipe groups?
General. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I don't know that there are any real niche blogger roundup groups that I've seen.
There are some. Yeah, there's like dairy-free, gluten-free, things like that. But it's interesting that the more general ones are still working. Do you guys have any suggestions or recommendations for the actual content that you put up? So are you posting your content there or are you replying to, I haven't been in those groups forever, so I don't remember how it works. You're actually putting a post up on these groups, right?
So someone will request a particular type of recipe. Like the other day, it was like, I'm looking for whoopie pies and I happen to have a whoopie pie recipe. So I'll respond with the link to my recipe.
Gotcha. Because I know there are groups also where it's more like you can go and freely publish your link just as a post. So there's like a theme to the group and then you can just go in and say maybe a sentence like, these are the best sweet potato cornbread muffins you're ever going to eat in your life. Here's the link, that sort of thing. So I know there's a couple different ways you can do it.
I'm honestly I'm a member of those, but I'm not very active just because, I don't know, I find that everything's a time suck. And so I really have to figure out what has the best ROI.
Absolutely.
And I don't find that I get much back on those types of groups.
Right.
But I do better when I'm responding to somebody. I will put a link out, ask for links when I'm doing a roundup on occasion, if I don't have enough content that I want to share myself. But they're all within these roundup groups.
Yep.
Yeah. So you're getting little bits of traffic from Facebook. It sounds like not a massive ton, but at least something is trickling in from your efforts. And consistency there too, I think is really important. Just showing up every day. I love that you guys each have your morning to-do list. Check it off.
Right.
It's great.
I love a list.
Yes. Good list is great. Bloggers love lists. I don't know.
Yeah.
We love our lists.
Sometimes I'll write something I've already done just so I can cross it off.
Oh my gosh, I do the same thing. I'm glad I'm not alone with that.
Do you use
go ahead.
organizational tools, Ashley, besides just paper and pen?
So this one's kind of silly, but I have a Mac and there's like the List app. Is it called List? Reminders.
Yeah.
And I have one for every day, and I just put little things that I want to accomplish every day. I also can make my grocery list through that. Like I'm very obsessed because it syncs to my iPhone too. So honestly that, and then I love a spreadsheet. So
how about you, Gwen?
A combination of kind of doing what Ashley's doing. I don't use reminders. I use my notes app on my Mac and my iPhone, and I use Airtable for all of my spreadsheets, of which there are many, to keep me organized.
Yeah, that's great. I love how both of you mentioned networking as being kind of a foundation for success, and also investing. That came up yesterday in our part 1 of this series. Everyone there too was like, first and foremost, you have to be willing to invest in your business. And that networking piece is kind of a part of that. Are there any other pieces of the puzzle that you feel are important to mention? Consistency, we mentioned, networking, investing, anything we're forgetting?
I think honestly, your host is kind of important because speed, like if someone's trying to get to your site and it's taking forever to load, then they're going to go away.
Same with your theme too, I think.
Exactly.
You need to be responsive.
Right. So before I even started, I met with all the people at Tastemaker, and I ended up going with Feast and Big Scoops. And I want to say those are probably, I feel like that's a big part of, my success too.
Well, for me, that's what changed everything, because I was using my friend's hosting and my friend's theme that she developed because she was a web designer. And when I moved to Feast and Big Scoots, it was like night and day.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good combo, I will say. I use the same and can't complain. It's great.
Right.
It's very important. All right. Anything else that you guys feel is something that new bloggers should keep at the top of their minds?
Consistency. Consistency is key, whether it's a day-to-day, week by week, sending out emails, nurturing your email list is huge. You've got to do it.
Show up
Show
over
up every
and
day.
over and over. Yep.
Yeah.
Do you guys have last bits of encouragement for food bloggers? As we mentioned in the beginning, it's not a joke. Like people are giving up left and right. It's kind of tough out there right now. We have to work a lot harder than we used to, and not just work harder, but be a lot smarter about how we're working. So I feel like it's going to be a year where especially new bloggers just need extra encouragement, which is part of the reason I'm doing this series. So coming from you guys, you're newish bloggers and you've found some awesome success in a relatively short time. So give your fellow new bloggers some encouragement.
Do you want to go first, Gwen, or you want me to?
For me, it's goal setting and trying to meet my goals and breaking things down and, hitting like we talk about, on a daily basis, it's your to-do list. On a weekly basis, it's XYZ. On a monthly basis, it's XYZ. Hit the goals, and if you hit the marks, you're going to see the progress, and being consistent and enjoy loving what you're doing. It's all about, the passion. Do you have the passion behind it? If you have a passion for what you're making, if you have a passion for food and sharing food, stick with it. It's fun. It's really fun. And even though it's a lonely profession, it's really great to connect with other people.
Yeah. So I'd say find your people, and the little mastermind that I'm a part of. Like, I mean, even if we don't get to meet all the time, like, I don't know, it's just great having that community. And then the other thing I would recommend is like, figure out what your superpower is. So like something that like really lights you up, that maybe your friends say, oh, you're the best at making cake or whatever. Just figure out what that is. And I feel like that really kind of shines through. Like I love food styling. Like I don't know. I feel like that's my superpower. So you just have to figure out like what it is that lights you up, and that's going to keep you going.
Those are such good words to end with, both of you. Thank you so much. And thank you for taking the time for this. I appreciate it. I know everybody else listening so appreciates your time and the value you shared today. So Ashley and Gwen, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. This was fun.
And then will you just to end, reiterate what your blog name is and maybe social handles too, so people can go find you?
Sure. I'm Ashley Freeman. Little Black Skillet is my blog. And my handle for Instagram is Little Black Skillet, and Ashley Strickland Freeman on Facebook.
All right. How about you, Gwen?
I'm Gwen Wolken, and my blog name is A Sweet Thyme, thyme like the herb, THYME. And all of my social media handles are A Sweet Thyme. So it's pretty easy to find.
Yeah. Great. Thanks again, ladies, for being here. So appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thanks so
Appreciate you.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Eat Blog Talk. If you enjoyed this episode, I'd be so grateful if you posted it to your social media feed and stories. I will see you next time.